Thank you everyone for your attention. So we're going to make a start. Please let's call it light if you can. Now this might be a little bit different to all your other talks for a couple of reasons. First of all, I'm European background, so I'm not going to muffle myself by tying my hands up. So the microphone is staying there. Can you hear me well enough down the back? Yep. All right. So I'm not muffled. I'm going to be talking with my hands. The second thing that's going to be slightly different is I'm going to play music. And the reason why I'm going to play some music is because the tunes I'm going to play are deeply entwined with the reason for and the intent and the purpose behind what I do. So you might not be able to connect with my words, because some of this is intellectually based, but you might connect to the feeling. So either way, be open to an experience. If it's disturbing to anyone, the music, just let me know and I can adjust the volume. Probably worse for yourself, because you're closest to it. Okay. So ShareTree. So what I'll be going through is a little bit about the ShareTree model, a little bit of head stuff, but also a lot of heart stuff, what the pillars are, its function, and we're going to do a character discovery activity at the end. So each of you will experience one of the tools we're in development. We are looking for your feedback as well. So some of the boundaries I'd like to set is truth. We are not scared. We have a good base of courage. So give us your truth with tact, as I mentioned earlier. Be open. The demographic in this room is not representative to the globe. So be mindful of that. What we're creating is for the next generation and a little bit for our generation, but mostly for the next. And idealistic, because I believe anything can be achieved if humanity puts its energy to it. So before I start, I want to express Linda, the gratitude from our team for your work, for Dan's work, for John's work. It really has given us a strong foundation. It's designed as the fabric into everything that we do in ShareTree, and it will propel humanity forward. So thank you for doing all of that really wise and idealistic work. So the work that Linda and her team have done are providing roots and foundations for so many incredible and amazing causes. And we've heard all of these tremendous stories. And it is real power of virtues, but virtues can be woven into all walks of life, in all aspects of life, to improve humanity and character in whatever it is that we do. So it becomes the roots, and each of us are its pillar. So when we are there, we find its value, we entwine with our talents, and we bring it to the world. So branches are growing everywhere. And it was by complete coincidence that we picked ShareTree as the name, but it is so well fitting towards what Virtues provides. So I'll give you a brief background on myself. At the moment, I'm a father, I'm a team leader, I'm an educator, I'm a friend, I'm many different things. If I take you back to the start of my life was probably a bit unique in its start. So one of my first experiences I ever had, I was really closely connected to my cousin. And my cousin is a good source of inspiration for me. So she passed away of leukemia early on. And it's a sad experience, but it's also a really growing experience. And that connection that I had with her, in some ways it's strengthened tremendously. So what's unique is that I remember standing at a funeral and seeing all my relatives crying. They were bawling, they were in such sadness, which is understandable, but at an age of a child that wasn't preconditioned to all of the things that we believe need to happen, I was walking around to my aunties and uncles saying, why is everyone so sad? She was here, she's connected to us, and she will always be connected to us. There's no end to that. And unfortunately, my mother couldn't see where I was coming from, and she rightfully calmed me down, and I just quietly sat in the background and observed what would happen. So not to say that don't be sad for people that die, but I think it's a real strength of character and grow. When we lose people that we love, we are always connected to them. And I feel what makes us sad is our attachment to what they give us. So that is the first experience I had in life. As I grew a bit older, I was also had an experience of sexual abuse, which is funny that you mentioned it earlier. Sexual abuse, a lot of people freak out when I tell them this. I am truly grateful for the experience, because that experience gave me a profound sense of purpose in life. So again, not being very wise as a child, age 9, I would lie in bed and I had built the perception, again by misinformation from people provided in society, that if you are sexually abused, potentially that's homosexuality, and homosexuality is linked to AIDS. And I've got nothing against homosexuality whatsoever, but the thought of, now I had AIDS as a 9-year-old child, that sat with me for probably a good 2 or 3 years. So I had this thought that I was going to die. And that is an amazing experience. That is a truly amazing experience, because what it does is it resets the end of your life to the start of your life. And if you can do that for everybody in the world, I can tell you it would have a profound change on the earth. So with that experience comes a lot of challenges. I'm grateful to all the teachers that are in the room, because I was your worst student. I'm the one you wanted to get, and because I would challenge everything that you would put up. So I had a disbelief in the system. I was also challenged in the way that I learned, highly visual, partly dyslexic. But there's always ways, many ways to one destination. And it comes down to people understanding their students, having a genuine care. And it's the people that are in this room that really help guide me through life to where I am today. So thank you to all of the teachers here that do that tremendous work. So that's a little bit about my background. So the ShareTree purpose is to educate, engage and empower people to share their time, resources, to promote greater equality and harmony across society. Now the reason why we put the picture of the honeycomb there is for a good reason. So if we look to nature, nature in all of its wisdom has perfected so many cycles and so many societies of different creatures that sometimes I feel humanity are too intellectual for themselves. And it's simplicity that often creates the best solution. If you look at bees, you also look at ants, they have it in harmony. They have a society that's balanced. Everyone's contributing and everything is working and serving the greater being of being part of humanity and the earth. Ants in particular, they do something that's unique. So every so often an ant, a new queen will rise up. And if the nest is not ready to start a new population, that queen, and it's a hormonal thing, will try and infiltrate its own nest and create division between its own colony. What the ants do is restrain that new queen until she finishes her cycle. And the reason why I explain that is that sometimes I feel that the governments are there to serve our system. And the governments are sometimes hijacked by corporations. And there is nobody putting restraint on these corporations that are hijacking our world. It is our world that belongs to us. So we work by these 5 values. These are the people we want to attract to our calling and our purpose. And this is what governs our decisions whenever there's contention. And there's many points of discernment that come across growing what we're growing. So the quote that you said quite a few times, and I said to Linda later today, I said, did you read my presentation? She says, no, I didn't read it. Some people have infiltrated it, so something's obviously connected, because there's a lot of things I'm talking about that she's already mentioned. So be the change you want to see in the world. Be it at home, be it amongst your friends, be it in your workplace, be it everywhere. Without the expectation on self to be perfect either. Because joy, what I've learned from here, is really an important part of the whole process. So selflessness, hand up, not hand out. What we specifically mean about that is there are so many incredible charities already working on what I would say are symptoms of the cause. Our charity primary focus is to focus 100% on the cause. One of many causes. Wealth inequality is one we're focusing on. All treated equal, gender, sexuality, country of origin, we don't care where you come from, we don't care about your background. One rule is just do not harm others and serve with purpose. Reasonable distribution of wealth, 30-1. What that means is that you earn an income, each of you, through investment properties, through work, whatever it is your means of getting value back from society for yourself, for what you've contributed to it. That's an important point. And that ratio is, imagine you earn $100,000, we're saying that no one should earn more than $3 million. $3 million is a reasonable sum of money. Is there anyone here that feels they would need more than $3 million per year to live comfortably? Right. So in this room alone, but this is going on across the world, people. This is what is happening in our planet today. The average ratio is well above that. I'm going to share some statistics with you. The last part is that we want to do this without impacting the environment. The Earth is our planet. It is a resource that is not unlimited, and we must treat it like we treat our own children, with care, with dignity, with nurturing. So our team sat together and we said, okay, what do we feel is the main problems contributing to the world's issues at the moment? There's a whole range of them. I'm not going to go through them. We put them all up on the board. We did this with openness. We let people contribute all of the reasons that they thought were there, and we let everyone immerse themselves in all those reasons and take away 3 post-it notes to decide which they thought were the 3 most. The ones that came up were greed, corporate structures, a lack of having a value system for societies that measures the right things, having no checks and balances created by the government, so no boundaries, and on the people side, the wrong teachings or not ideal teachings. The teachers' work that you're doing is amazing. Where we feel there's a major gap, and we're all in consensus with that, is that from kindergarten right through to university and in the corporate education system, there is a lack of character development. It's actually almost non-existent. So wealth distribution, the current ratio across the globe is 100-1. So remember I said before, someone earning $3 million, no one was brave enough to put their hand up, by the way, that they wanted the $3 million. But that would mean $10 million. No, sorry, that would mean $1 billion, $3 billion. And that's what the ratio is at the moment. Instead of 3 million being the ceiling, 3 billion being the ceiling. This is the current reality. And the masses are completely oblivious to this going on. Some of you I've spoken to are aware of it, but the vast majority of people, they're unaware. They're focused on what's important in life, and they're going through it. So what would it look like if we move this? 0.5% of the world's population is currently holding 35.6% of its wealth. And these are old statistics, by the way, from 2008. So 68% of the population is holding 4.2% of its wealth. Does that seem like a fair distribution of effort that's going across the globe? It certainly doesn't to me. What does it look like? Is it unrealistic to move 30-1? So I'm happy to say I've got an amazing talent for mathematics. One of the reasons why my high school teachers come knocking on the door when I left my parents said, "Oh, why are you letting your son leave school? He's got always the highest mathematics score in school all the way through. English, not so good, yeah, we can do with some help there." So the mathematics on this would mean that the bottom population would be completely out of poverty just by removing the top. And we're not saying we're going to go and take this from them, because it's theirs, they own it. But we give that to them. And you know how we give it to them? Every single time you buy something. And you know why you give it to them? Because you don't even know you're giving it to them. So this is one of our strategies. to make consumers aware of their purchase.
Everything you buy something new.
Anything you buy, besides trading between people directly,
Apart from the upshot.
yeah, that's trading. That's trading. If you buy anything that's mainstream materialism, new car, new phone, new clothes, all of these things, not all, some of these things are feeding into that. But the majority of them are unaware. So my background is in engineering, and we consult to over 500 companies in Australia about business improvement, Lean Six Sigma and leadership. And we see statistics, we know what's going on in the background. And the vast majority, the good thing is the vast majority of businesses are doing the right thing. It's the minority which is holding the majority of the opportunity. So I'm sure most of the teachers are familiar with the cycle of water. And I like analogies of nature because nature knows what it's doing. So the water cycle, it gets hot like today, the sea evaporates water, goes up into the sky. That water is then dumped out of the sky because of the pressure of the mountains. It flows through rivers and valleys, into lakes, back to the sea. Cycle of water. Water is the source of life for humanity. Money is the source of opportunity for humanity. So there's some analogies here. Rainfall distribution of water. Spending is the distribution of money. An ocean is a pool of water, and our economy is the pool of money. Mountains are where the majority of water is collected. Asset rich is where the majority of wealth falls. Rivers direct the water flow. Governments are supposed to direct the money flow. Some of them do it better than others. And nature manages the distribution. In our society, the systems manage the distribution. So you'd think they'd be somewhat similar. And I'm not for a second saying they should be identical, but I would hope to see some synergies there because they are similar. So what's going on? So mountains make up 20% of the surface area. So let's assume they are the super rich, and they are holding, in population, 1% of the population, but they are holding 42% of the wealth. So it's already some disparity there going on, inequality. Good land for farming makes up 30% of the surface. Let's assume that that relates to being rich. Now, rich is a good place to be. That's 9% of the population. They're holding 43% of the wealth. Covered by snowland, so not so great lifestyle now going on. 20% of the surface of the earth, where fresh water falls. Let's call them the middle class. 10% of the population, holding 11% of the wealth. Dry land, 20% of the surface area, let's call them the poor. 80% of the population, holding 5% of the wealth. And rock surfaces, 10% of, let's call that black money and not-for-profits, because we just can't see what's going on with all of that surface. So wealth distribution doesn't seem very natural to me. And this is why our purpose has arisen. So does money buy happiness? I'm fortunate to be quite wealthy from hard work. Nothing's been handed to me. I use my gifts well, I have a good character, and I get good value in return for the service I provide to the world. But that's a capitalistic view. But in the word capitalism is the word cap. And there's only so much that I should take from those that I leverage. When is enough enough? So 30% by mathematics is logical. But if you do it by drawing circles, if I draw a circle, and in that circle now I draw a circle across the centroid, and keep crossing the centroid so it doesn't cross that circle and so on, and do it out again, it actually turns out by the time I can't reach any more of the circles, there's 30 circles on the page. So it doesn't matter which way you look at this, there's inequality and imbalance in what's going on in the world. So does it make me happy to have more money? To a point. There's statistics. So what they did was look at the average happiness surveyed across different pools of people based on the income that was being earned. Am I going too fast or am I going place? Lower the music? Thanks for being assertive. That better? Good. So if you look at happiness, there is no doubt that a certain level of money is needed in order for us to have survival, connection and opportunities. But once you start earning past $120,000, what they say is that happiness starts to flatten out. And in some cases, these are representative of pools of people, they become unhappier with more money. And you see that in movie stars, you see that in super wealthy, because life gets full of complexity. And I have first-hand experience with it. Once you reach a certain point, unless you leverage other people to get more, your life will be completely complex. And the richest people I know and coach are those that can handle the most complexity. So a gratitude journal was held after, as opposed to people winning the lottery, and they collected statistics of different people. So over the course of months, if someone won the lottery, that would increase happiness tremendously the first time, because of the material concept of money buying happiness, which is a false fallacy. It's a fallacy. Happiness comes from good, virtuous character and connections between people. So they had people create a journal logging their gratitude. And Derek's got some amazing research on this, that gratitude builds resilience. So if you need that, definitely contact him. And they're the results. After time, money does not create happiness in a short period of 6 months, whereas holding gratitude for life and appreciating the things that are in it are what create happiness. So what is ShareTree going to do? So our objective is focused on 3 aspects: to educate, to build better characters of the future, to learn and share the foundations of goodness woven through virtues, to engage our communities so that we practice these things, sharing skills, time and resources, and to be by empowering. So once those that learn the cycle should share those skills with others, so the community engaging back with its new generation. So that cycle, to learn, to practice, to be, is with us always as we go through each of our evolutionary stages in life. And there's 7 stages that people go through. You start by trying to survive. Do you have enough for what you need? If you look at survival as an adult, do I have enough income? Do I have enough knowledge to add value to society? Then you make connections and you start adding value to society. You find your power, so you have a stable income, and now you're in a state where you can actually really make some change and some impact on others. You move into stability, so you put things in place that allow you to do it with such harmony and balance, and then you become independent. After independence, when you have more than enough and you know how things work, the tendency, and most of these people in this room, I would say, are in that stage, is to serve the community. And some of you do that so quickly that you go straight to that state. Some of you are born with it. And beyond that is universality. How do we make this work all the time and there's no wrong way? So what are the functions of the pillar educate? So our purpose is to create virtuous leaders of the future. So one of the ways we feel we can make a difference is by replacing the leaders of today with wiser leaders tomorrow. And this is where schools program is really, really important. It's one of our main focuses. That's why I'm excited to meet and network with so many people doing amazing things here. And our strategy is to help unite that effort and accelerate that effort by giving people freely resources that are accessible over the net. Now, accessing free resources may raise some concerns for people. That, if the resources are freely available, maybe I can't charge for them. Fair and reasonable thought. But if you have free resources and you have a larger demand for knowledge, you will actually have more work. Because what we're not giving them is the connection that can only be done with a person. So an intro can be discovered online and it can arouse interest from people. But when they want deep knowledge, they must come to a facilitator because they hold the key and they hold the deep knowledge. If anyone has any questions, feel free. This is informal. You can interrupt me whenever you like. So using virtues as the fabric of ShareTree, it's woven into everything that we've designed. Creating online education so people can easily discover intro to virtues. Creating virtues schools kits. So what we feel that might look like is that as a teacher, you can go on and capture aids, and would love to tap into some of the things that have already been created and accelerate that learning and knowledge, and have a network where we can annually meet and discuss what's best practice, what is working. And we do this in the engineering world, we do it in the aerospace world, but we're not doing it so well in the education space. Validating the effects of virtue through research. So Derek's volunteered, and there's amazing works also going on in Singapore, and undoubtedly there is work going on here in New Zealand. And even if you're not putting in, validated research methods, I'm sure you'll be able to see the impacts and the changes that are going on in New Zealand. So unifying virtues facilitators through a social network. So I'm going to show you shortly what we're building as an online network. What our intent is that if you are virtue certified, it will show up on your profile. So if anyone wants to find you, if I'm coming to New Zealand, even for a holiday, because I'd rather spend time with people that are virtuous characters, you could find that person and you can communicate with them. And you can understand who they are. If the community is interested and they understand the intro to virtues and they want a master facilitator, they can find them online. There is already aspects of that, and we want to work with the leaders in making that more efficient. Skilling teachers with virtues as part of a degree study. So in Australia, we're focusing on, and we've already made some headway, that it's a mandatory part of a degree qualification. And we're also working with Kim on some of the kindergarten stuff. So we'd love to have this all happening tomorrow. The reality is we need some patience, we need to be resilient, we need to be persevering. This will happen over time, and it's already happening.
Is that
Yep.
just in Victoria or in South Wales as well?
Well, if it's
At
events,
the
it will
moment,
be
the
national.
education systems are different in Australia, as you know, so we're focusing primarily on where we all are with the intent that it's easily converted. So once it's all in place, it's only going to be picked up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then improved.
Yeah.
There's always a cycle.
There's
to
always a
improve.
cycle.
So Australia's where we're starting because that's where the resource base is. So the functions of engage. So remember, engage is to practice. And what we're designing there is to encourage people to practice virtuous activity. So engage our communities to share, change the measures of success in society from money to character. So if we're out there trying to raise our kids, and I feel so sorry for my son and my daughter, they watch the news and the media and all of these things that set role models of society, and they're empty characters. Yeah. And luckily we have a network of good people where I can keep giving you virtuous examples of that's how to be in society. So this is what we're really targeting, and it's not that every person is bad. Every person by nature, I feel, is great. What the system is just focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah.
And if you put on your glasses and you go and look at the dirt on the floor as opposed to the flowers and the trees, that's what you see. So online social network for charity and philanthropy. So we're promoting charitable activities. There will be different types of profiles on there. There will be user profiles. So you will create a profile if you choose to, if you're interested in technology, to understand what your virtuous character is, to learn about virtues, and to be able to network with other people. There will be charity profiles. So charities can find you if you want to volunteer your skills and resources to be able to help with charitable activity. And there will be schools profiles, so schools can share and create and improve themselves. There will be also company profiles. Now this is where we come back to the strategy. So what we're wanting to do is for companies to promote character, supporting consumer awareness related to equality standards. And I'll show you what they mean. So how Engage looks. Here's a rough profile one of our teams put together. Unfortunately, you have to look at my face again. I should have put Jessica's face up there. It will talk about what my purpose is. It doesn't have to be a grand purpose. It can be the smallest thing, it can be the grandest thing. It's whatever a person's purpose is. So the algorithms we build in the background will help people to connect to people with like purposes, to accelerate change. It will talk about what I'm willing to donate. So I'm happy to donate 2 hours per week, volunteering and coaching. I'm happy to give that to charities, to not-for-profits, or anyone in the general public. We give the user a choice of that. You might say, look, I'm really busy, I only want to support charities. So you turn off these things in the profile. It says I'm giving $100 per month poverty relief. It's not a real figure, this is just an example. And I've 100% spent that. I've already chosen a charity. And I'm sharing my resources to general cancer research. So I'm a business coach and a business improvement expert. I'm giving 20% of that at the moment, so I have capacity available to help other organisations. What it will also do, we're promoting acts of kindness. So if you call Stephen Ferrugia to come and support you with your business plan, and I volunteer that service, then you endorse my virtue. So on LinkedIn, is everyone familiar with LinkedIn? So on LinkedIn, you can go on and click, if I join up with Linda, I can just bring up her profile and say, Linda's a lean expert, she knows how to sail boats, so I can just put anything on there. There's nothing that's being of credential value about that endorsement. With ShareTree, you must do an act of kindness, and only Linda will be able to endorse my virtue for that act. So you're building a real character profile. If I want to grow now in courage, then I go and do acts around courage. So I discover virtues, and there's a resource set there to learn about what those virtues are. So empower. So empower is about to promote consumer awareness and choice and buying power. So this is where the real change will come in at quality. When you know, when you spend money, where that profit is going to. So establish a global standard for companies around equality. We're promoting companies of equality and creating a new model of social business. So that's businesses that are half charitable and half for profit. It's come with a lot of challenges in Australia because it didn't exist before, but we've successfully built a model. So we'll look something like this. It'll evolve and change, and we're flexible to what the needs are of society. But essentially, what we're looking for is for products, I'll just skip forward, to have that standard. You go to a website, it tells you the equality standards of that company. You buy a product, it tells you about the equality standards of the product. So the good thing strategically is the majority of businesses are already doing the right thing. So let's promote the good businesses, and let's understand where there's bad equality choices. So what will it look like? It will tell us, the company, it will tell us what their income distribution ratio is. So what that means, this is a real case for Day2, one of my companies. Day2 distributes wealth at a 19:1 ratio. So we operate within the standard of 30:1. So it becomes green on our profile, not grey. We meet the sustainability standards, so we're looking to partner up with B Corporation, but also interested in Nizar's input because he has some experience in that space. What we're understanding there is what that company is doing for our planet and how are they sustainable business model. They will list there, our main focus is recycling. The last part of that is talking about how much they donate to charitable cause or their net profits. So this company is donating 50% of its net profits to a charitable cause. So then you have now awareness and choice. So if this product now sits next to another one, and they're 100%, say it's a product that's completely owned by a charity, now you have a choice. I want to give all my money to charity, and I'm getting the same quality product for a better cause. Now we can start making a change in the world.
Can I ask the question?
Yeah, go ahead.
When you say charity, you don't know what the charity is, do you? Are there some
Well, you'll be able
standards
to click through this. This is a simple view, but
Oh.
you'll be able to click on that to see what the charity link is.
Oh.
So every company will connect it up. So if you clicked on that, it would actually bring up ShareTree in our case, because our money is donated to ShareTree, to this cause.
Can you explain 19:1? What do you mean empowering people with equality?
So
Can you explain that?
our lowest income earner is an administrator. She earns $65,000. And our highest income earner is one of the executives, and he earns 19 times $65,000 per year, which includes all his profit shares, all of his dividends. So every ShareTree company shares half of its gross profits with its people. So we're a company of equality. So everybody has exactly the same opportunity as I have in the company, even though I founded it. In some ways I have more opportunity because I have to go through the hard work of setting it up. So there's people in my company that earn more than I do. I'm completely fine with that. I think that's good. That's the stage that they are in their life, and they want to work harder. I'm at a stage where I want to slow down a bit and actually enjoy my family.
But still 50% is donated.
Correct. 50% is donated of every dollar that we make.
Yeah.
So it's about empowering people in equality of wealth distribution to bring it below 30 to 1. Engaging communities by donating to not-for-profits and charities greater than 5%. So any charity that's above 5% will get the green E here. And that, by the way, is the world standard. That's best practice, 5%. The amounts they donate are amazing, but in comparison to what they make, it's not so great. But something is better than nothing, most certainly. Educating in environmental sustainable business practices. So the B Corp, who we're looking to partner with, have a whole program globally about becoming a sustainable business, making sure the planet works well. And we're not about creating everything. We want to plug in best practice around the world. So there'll be two standards. Because the majority of people are doing the right thing, they'll have a self-assessed, self-administered silver standard. But if you want to have it endorsed by a third party through ShareTree or B Corp, then there's a gold standard. So if you self-assess, the majority of small businesses are doing the right thing. So they're engaging their community, they're engaging their clients, and who keeps them in check? Their customers. So their customers, if they feel they're not doing the right thing, the public can report back on integrity issues. So if we see a small or medium company that's got a lot of its customers feeding in saying, you know what, they're not doing the right thing here, then ShareTree can call them to have an independent audit to keep things in check. But the majority are doing the right thing. So that's how it could look. So, shortly move to the activity. There was an interesting aspect. I did research on virtues through TED Talks. And there was one TED Talk, and some of you may have seen it, where they talk about 500 of the greatest TED Talk leaders that have achieved success. And they asked every single one of them what was the one key attribute to achieving success. And they listed six main success factors.
Stephen, so people are just asking what TED is. So
TED, okay, thanks for picking me up on that. So TED is an international forum for inspiring speakers. So if you've never watched it, it is the most amazing place to go and get inspiration, to go and get wisdom and knowledge.
just Google TED.
TED, TEDx is the ones that work outside of it. So
It's in other languages besides English.
there's definitely a Japanese TED system, I'm quite sure, but I don't know besides that. I've only seen those two languages. So the 6 key attributes to success, they talked about people with purpose and passion that understand what's driving them in life. These are not in order of response, this is just the 6. Wisdom, so understand what you know and do it to the deepest of understanding and the best you can. They talked about service, that people that acted in service, not for self but for others, were always successful. About courage, to endure any feat that comes past. About tolerance, being accepting of any outcome and never giving up. The notion that you only fail when you stop trying is what they were mostly talking about. And self-discipline, about having routines to endure the path to reach your destination. The one I believe that they miss is trust. And trust is based predominantly on character and relationships that you have with people. And I think it's actually woven in amongst all of them. And it's responsible for every success, but not at the forefront of people's minds. So I'm going to do a character discovery. So what virtues do you focus on as an individual? Which ones are most important to you? All of them are important to all of us, but we have tendencies to focus on one or another. And which ones do we give up in order to serve others? And it's an interesting exercise. So I'm going to ask you to resist temptation to look on the flip side of this. You can just pass these out down that road. Oh, thanks. Anyone got one? Was anyone missing one? Any more? Are we out of sheets?
No, one thing.
Oh no, we're short. We're short a couple. Any spare ones around? Oh, you can't share it. It's uniquely your experience. Oh, just hands up if you guys that don't have one. 2. Yep. Almost well planned.
Does the other one think?
No, that's just the lemonade. So what you have there in front of you is this document. And the purpose behind this document is that we want to create some tools that entice people towards virtues. So this is a virtues discovery. We're trialling this tool. We're truthfully interested in your feedback to see whether this is something that may entice you. Putting on the hat of wisdom, knowing that you already know about virtues, of course. So what you want to do there is understand, when you have 2 virtues there, which is most important to you. So go through the list and circle the virtue that it will be, some of these will be very hard for you to do, some you might do in an instant. But if I have purposefulness, and I must give up purposefulness against courage, would I do that? And then I'll run scenarios in my head where that might be the case. And then see which virtue is more important to you and circle that virtue. A couple of times it tells you actually a lot about yourself, and then you go and discover the virtues. If someone wants a virtues card, I've got a deck just here if you want to look at the virtue. They've just gone to photocopy a couple. Yeah, it's splitting hairs in a lot of cases. Each virtue will be on there 6 times each. So it puts courage against purposefulness. The next time it puts courage against hope. So it's looking at which virtues are standing out for you. Who was looking for activity? Yep, there's one here.
I started.
Thanks, Kitty, for being so generous.
Sooner
Yep.
than later.
So what we're doing is going through each question and deciding if you have to choose between purposefulness and courage through your life experience, which would you have to let go of? Yeah. Yeah, so we need to see purposefulness personally, responds to you, encouragement. If you're in a situation between one or the other, which one would you choose? Yeah, you do that for each one.
Does everybody have one?
Yeah, you think about this step first, purposefulness and courage, and you choose which one. The next step, hope and compassion. So think about hope, what does it mean to you, compassion, which one is more important to you? Choose one.
It's easier to make this decision if it was accumulative, what you chose when it was in the past.
No, we want to actually stack them up against all of them. I know for me, it's got just truth against courage. Probably pick courage, but if I put truth against all other things, people will always come first. And that's purely framed around the way that I am selling virtues. And notice the ones that you have contention with. There's good reason for it. Some will be very quick. been stuck in all of them. So I'm going to create a boundary there because you could sit contemplating them for a long time. So by 5 o'clock we're going to do the summing. So you've got another 9 minutes and 28 seconds. It's my teaching side coming out.
I appreciate the information that there's a Zoom tool.
Yeah, hard to do. If anyone's interested in this music, it's called Sacred Earth. Minutes remaining. Just want to remind you, if you're giving up a virtue, you don't have to let go of it. It's still there.
Which cup is fuller, that's all it is.
Playing it up anyway. If you are genuinely uncomfortable, you can certainly stop. No one's forcing you, right?
They shouldn't add up to 36. So if you've got just no, just hold it on the front side for now. So if you're finished, just add them up. So what you're doing is looking down the left column, count how many times you see purposefulness, then go to the next one, that you've selected it, then count how many times you select hope, so on and so forth, then go to the right side. Sorry to bring you back to school activity, but we do need. There should be a total of 36 selections. So when you add up the totals on the bottom, and you scroll down, they should add to 36. But there's no wrong or right. Don't be too concerned. I should add up to a total of 36. It's a little shocked. It should add up to 36. If you've done that, you've done very well. Give yourself the virtue of excellence on your card. Also a high C character trait. No, don't go over to that side yet. Very enthusiastic. Alright, you've got 1 minute left. Is there anyone that hasn't managed to pick them all yet? Alright, so we've got everyone together. That's just the short version. It's got a lot more comprehensive version. It talks about character strength as well. I'm going to talk about it now. It's all free online. Okay. You're going to be committed to the time boundary that I set, and we're going to move on. So if you haven't summed it up, rest assured I can come around and help you later on to get to a result. What I'd like you to do now is flip to the back side of that, and you'll see this picture there with each of the lead virtues, the green ones, which will match the count categories that you've just put on the other side. So just add in the total for each. So for instance, purposefulness will have a sum on the bottom. Take the purposefulness value and add that into your picture. And so on for each of the lead virtue groups. If anyone needs some help with that, just raise your hand and I can come and guide you. I'm glad that you're doing it. Jessica, she's going to do this. Okay. All right, have everyone should have those numbers written on the back side. Now what you're seeing there is a picture like this. And the activity you've just done is only the inside. So what you've done is work out what your virtues focus is. What are you putting most importance on when you're making decisions, virtuous decisions in life? Some of them are really hard, right? Sorry, the music?
No. Can you stop talking and let me finish this?
Oh, okay. How many others need a bit more time? Okay, one more minute. A little bit of flexibility. 1 minute.
Wait, I can bring it. Sorry.
Okay. So I want to start by firstly saying that we each individually have unique characters. There is most certainly no wrong or right answers with this exercise whatsoever. What it is a discovery piece. It's a discovery for yourself. They're your own answers. So if you don't feel it's accurate, then it's your answers. So explore and understand why you don't feel that reflects who you feel you are. What we've done there, we've had a group, a committee, a focus group that went through all the virtues. And we went through this quite engineeringly because we are engineers, but with feeling entwined with it. So we had some structure about the strategy of grouping virtues, and there's many virtues groupings around the world. The reason why we came to this point is because 100 is a lot to handle, right? Who's had issues trying to pick a good virtue out of 100? I certainly have, when I'm waiting to talk to someone, until you become familiar with them. So we said, okay, naturally put down on the table, as a group of 8 people, which virtues you think are most alike. Now every virtue is like this. It's entwined and infused with all other virtues. But virtues can more commonly sit with certain energies in our being than others. And the example I'll give you is a courage group. If you look at courage, look at the virtues that are in that group. In the courage group of virtues, you have assertiveness, commitment, confidence, decisiveness, determination, endurance, fortitude, independence, perseverance, resilience, steadfastness and strength. There's a similarity about those virtues. They're not the same, but there's a similarity. And where we relate them to energy, and this is all a perception, you don't have to subscribe to this for 1 second, but where they most fit energetically is in courage. So yesterday we sat in a circle and each of us had to stand up and talk. If you're unfamiliar with that activity, you get a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous. Where do you mostly feel those nerves? In your stomach. And there's really good biological reason for that. And those virtues, if you have that and you want to strengthen it, well hey, they're the virtues you want to call on to become more familiar with that. So it helps people discover virtues in a way to easily grab them. Now if I want to acknowledge a virtue of courage, but I want to do it with more precision, then I go to that group. Then I look through that group very quickly to be able to find a more fitting virtue for that person. So it helps me discover virtues a lot quicker. And if I've become so familiar with them that if someone describes a virtue, I can tell you which energy group it fits in, because they all have different energies about them. So if you think about spirituality, purposefulness, awe, certitude, faith, prayerfulness, reverence, wonder, zeal, they're all about us being connected to our Creator, to our purpose, to our being, to the universe. Oh, that's not going to work if I put the wrong password in. If you go down to the next level, and it's funny when you were talking earlier today about the massage, everyone, I was just listening to what they were describing, and everyone's describing mostly exactly this pattern, what's in this space. If you think about your intuition, I see, the energy of I see. It's about wisdom, creativity, all of those, and hope. So we put the lead virtues there to help people identify with the sub-virtues. If you talk about communication from the voice, it creates trust and truthfulness. It's about I speak. If you think about your heart, the I love, you know, hopefully not everyone's had a breakup with someone they love. I'd like to think that someone found their true love from the start and still got them. Is there anyone in here like that? Well done. There's a round of applause for those people. That is beautiful. But everyone's had some sort of breakup, and you feel it like, man, it's what the hell is that? It's empty. It's your heart, and it's all those associated virtues. Power is the I do to achieve. And if you want to achieve, they tend to be the virtues you want to call on. There's no wrong or right, once again, but it's a way to help people discover them and become more familiar with them. The feedback we got from people that were first being initiated to virtues is overwhelming. 100 virtues, well, which one do I say? Well, just start with the 12 lead virtues and then grow from there. The last one is about mindfulness, being connected to the earth, being present. It's about your existence. So self-discipline and mindfulness. Yeah, mindfulness from energetic speak, I don't know if there's anyone familiar with chakras and energies, Mindfulness tends to be a connection to earth, about you being part of being human. The purposefulness is out. If you sit and pray, the tendency is to look up. But if you're fearing threat of your life, the tendency is to go down. Or if you want peacefulness, to sit by a river, you tend to sit down and meditate. So there are some slight differences, and it's open to interpretation, of course. It's however you frame the world, there's nothing wrong with that. We're just trying to help people discover them. Now there's another, that's the virtues focus. So you'll notice now that there's certain strengths, and this character, which is one of our team members, his focus, right or wrong, is on purpose, hope, truthfulness, love. And the reason why I say right or wrong is that if it's serving you in your life right now, then just be aware of it. But if you do want to achieve certain things and you feel that you're not strong in a different area, then it's in your awareness, and you can start to move and shift and cultivate those virtues to help you be the character you want to be.
I see.
Yep.
Below the number,
The less focus you put on it. Now there's two reasons.
I was just going to say, is that a development area or is it?
There's two reasons. So there could be the reason that you're not valuing that virtue is because you feel you've mastered it. So be aware of that also. If you feel you've mastered it, depends on what context you've answered that question. So I'll focus on that more because I want more of it, or I focus on it more because it's more important to me. So be mindful of how you
It would
contextualize.
actually be helpful if you describe that as your strength virtues. Which one do you value as one of your strengths?
Yeah, because in this audience we've done a half survey. So the full survey has actually firstly questions about strength virtues.
Oh,
So we ask how well you've cultivated virtues,
okay.
but because you don't have it online,
Yeah,
so what we do is first understand, well, how best have I cultivated each virtue?
yeah.
So in this case, this individual gentleman, he's mastering these virtues, and it's all in your own perception, and he values them. But if you look over here, he doesn't feel he's mastered courage yet in comparison to the others, and he doesn't value it. So now he says, oh, that's actually deadly accurate. I know this gentleman is one of our team members. I need to do things that are more around this virtue.
How did you come up with the percentages from numbers?
Ours is on a mathematical model.
So you enter the number and you get a percent.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you do it online, and what I wanted to do was actually send you out the survey by email first, but I didn't want to influence your decision to go to the other talk because it would be unfair. So on the online one, all you do is just fill in numbers and it does it all automatically. So you don't need to have maths. So you just answer these questions. The example is, I make decisions fairly and justly when resolving conflicts of interest or opinion. Never, rarely, sometimes, often, always. So that gives you then your profile and virtue strength. On the outside, what you've just done now is virtues focus. Together you have more clarity. What I'm giving you now is a little bit of a taste.
Yeah.
Thanks for your patience, Margaret.
How did you decide between what was a performance virtue and what was a moral?
Great question. So There's two ways that we've decided which virtue goes in which group. The first priority we put was whether the virtue most associates to the lead virtue. So that should be most accurate, but it's all perception. The second thing that we decided was, is that virtue a doing virtue for achievement and performance, or a moral virtue about being? So if you look now back to your sum, flip the page back over, you'll see a score will either be balanced or weighted one way or the other. What that tends to indicate to you at this stage of life right now, because you're a person that's flexible to change, is that you might be mostly focused on being. So those that are focused on mostly being, just raise your hand. So that's about being a moral citizen. If you're highly driven, and I want to take you back to this presentation that I gave you. If you're balanced, that means you're putting energy into both parts of life. About being moral and also achieving. But, you know, if you're getting towards the end of life, you might be saying, well, I don't need to achieve so much, but I really just want to master myself. So look back. I'm just going to draw your attention back to this presentation that I gave you before about the 500 leaders. Good. This is getting the response I wanted. So think back to its purpose. We wanted to entice people to virtues, right? So you're interested. You're discussing now with your friends. So the strategy for ShareTree is we give this freely to people. They're excited about virtues. Oh, look at my profile on Facebook. They send it to their friend. That friend is now enticed by virtues. They go in, they do an intro, they're discovering virtues. It starts moving through society. This is our strategy.
You know what else? A piece of feedback for you is that this would appeal to both men and women. Because men love to rate themselves. And women really are interested in reflection on who am I really? So it works for both.
And it's actually an amazing coaching tool.
Yeah.
I use this together with this, if you're familiar with this, and we also have, you know, the values pendulum that tells you what stage of evolution you feel you're at this stage. So those three tools together give you a full picture of where that person's at in life, and then you offer companioning in a deepest way.
Do you have, like, I'm that now what?
Yeah, so from there, the full profile.
Oh, it's a full profile.
There's a full profile. You've just had a taste about your virtuous focus. Hang on, Margaret, sorry.
Have you noticed any gender differences? Like, are women more inclined to be being and men to be doing? Have you looked at anything like that?
At the moment, we only have 30 or 40 samples, so I'm interested for anyone here that's wanting to do a full profile. We'd love the input. We're understanding it. It's not finished by any means yet. We want to refine this and make it smarter. We are already seeing by stage of life patterns. Middle-aged people working to achieve incomes, more in the performance side. And if it's not by chance, have a look at what the response was from the TED Talk. And have a look back at your virtues profile. They're all on the right side. All of the ones that the 500 people said were keys to success in business are the right side about doing. And it's no coincidence that in the courage group, there's nothing that fits on the being side. They're all doing virtues. Service is, no, because it's not a lead virtue. They're only the lead virtues on the survey. So the next level is that you do a full in-depth and answer, 100 times more questions to go all the virtues. So they're representative of the group. So that's the activity. Hopefully it was a bit of fun. Sorry about the pain it created. What I've got last just if you could just give it to those that want to fill out a survey. Yeah, if you could just raise your hand if you want to give feedback. Interested in getting feedback? Yep. No worries. Yeah. I'll put my in the email address. You have my daily email address on my ShareTree. Are you sure? 100%? Let me just write it down. It's easy. Not for Richard. That's ShareTree.org. Okay. There is a VIA one. Yeah, didn't really give, yeah, exactly. Anyone else looking for a survey? Oh, yeah. And if you're willing to put your name on there, by all means, put it on there. We'd love to get specific conversation if we don't understand things. If you want to be anonymous, if truth doesn't come together with courage for you, then be anonymous and give us. Truth for me is more important than tact. Truth's more important than tact. So give us real feedback. Yes, you've got two more. Anyone else looking for one? No. All right. If you're interested in a full survey for our focus group, then email me and I'll email you this electronic full version. And we have coaches in Day2 if you want an unpack or a companioning session for that.
So it's not on the website?
No, we haven't launched anything yet. We're just working with the people we trust first. It's Stephen with a V. It's on the group email. Dot Farigia, F for Fred, Foxtrot, A-R-R, U-G-I-A, at ShareTree, seen that enough times on the slides, .org. There's some cards I'll leave just on the lectern here that you can help yourself to as well. So I was hoping to have 5 minutes left at the end. We've got 10, which is great. What I'd like to do with your permission is have just a short meditation session. I'm a believer of manifestation. What our thoughts are become our realities. So if you can think about what you've seen, how that relates to you, and how you'd like that to manifest as value add to your life, please meditate on that now. I believe that will make a difference as well. Please, for those that are meditating, lower your voices. feel comfortable to do so, just return yourself to this room. I just want to finish by thanking all of you for your energy and your focus and of service to everybody here. And in any way that we can help, I'm greatly appreciative.
Susan, I'd like to thank you for your purposefulness and your idealism. Especially your generosity towards humanity.
I'd like to acknowledge your concern for justice for the community.
And Steve, I'd like to thank you for your humility.
Thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.